Good evening, Guru Basava Educational Institution, Chavdiyar, Indi, respected Professor M.B. Bharath, President BRD Chavdiyar. I am happy to take part in one-day webinar on national security and development of nation. First, I would like to congratulate organizers for choosing wonderful topic. In the today's context, national security and nation development is most important. Looking at the recent disturbances created by our neighbors without any provocation from Indian side, national security seems to be most important than anything else. The nation development is also important. If a country becomes economically strong, stable, settled, no nation can threat us. So the economic development of a nation is also equally important. In this regard, the topic of the webinar, national security and development of nation, is very wonderful and most relevant into the present context. The topic which is given to me is Atmanirbhar Bharat. That means self-reliant India. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, it is Narendra Modi's vision of making India a self-reliant nation. The first mention of this came in the form of Atmanirbhar Bharata Abhiyan, a self-reliant India mission during the announcement of the coronavirus pandemic related economic packages on 12th May 2020. The two things have made to announce Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Number one is our neighbor disturbances. Number two is the coronavirus pandemic. So this self-reliance policy does not aim to be protectionist in the nature, and as a finance minister clearly said, self-reliant India does not mean cutting off from the rest of the world. So there is a debate that self-reliant means to produce everything at home. That is not the exact meaning of self-reliant. Self-reliant means give emphasis on local producers. Encourage the local producers. As much as possible, don't depend on others. It does not mean that we don't give emphasis on international trade. It does not mean that we don't give emphasis on collaboration with other nations or something like that. As Finance Minister herself said, the self-reliant policy does not aim for protectionist in nature. It does not mean cutting off from the rest of the world. Self-reliant also welcome the FDR. Self-reliant also welcome the transfer of technology from the rest of the world. So self-reliant does not mean have only protectionist policy. Self-reliant means give emphasis to the local producers, give emphasis to the local firms in a such a way that these local firms can compete with the global market, not only in the domestic market, even in the international market. That is the overall vision of the self-reliant India or Abhinav Bharat. Along with this, the Atma Bharat Nirman also aims for bringing drastic reforms in the country, be it agriculture sector, be it industrial sector, be it defense, be it banking sector, be it so many other sectors. As a part of Atma Nirbhar package, numerous government decisions have taken place. Along with, as I said just now, the other sectors, the most important are MSMEs, small enterprises. Here, another important aspect of Atmanirbhar Bharat is allowing private sector to the all sectors of the economy. Private sector here may be from India, maybe from even abroad as well. 20 lakhs crores as a special economic package has been announced for achieving goals under Atmanirbhar Bharat. This 20 lakh crores special economic package is equivalent to 10% of India's GDP. It is a huge amount. 10% of GDP, that is 20 lakhs crore special economic package for Atmanirbhar Bharat is quite a huge amount. So this amount is very judiciously distributed among all the sectors of the economy. In a couple of minutes, I would like to share with you what are the sectors which are taken under Atmanirbhar Bharat and how emphasis has been given to all these sectors which covered under Atmanirbhar Bharat. Let me start one by one sector which come under Atmanirbhar Bharat. First and foremost, which is very important for us all, is the agriculture sector. We know all agriculture sector has been suffering quite long time. During the economic reforms period, we noticed that there is a large improvement in other sector, industry and service sector. Service sector has increased like anything. Industry sector also developed. But agriculture sector is lagging behind. Agriculture sector is not able to take part in the development process. Agriculture sector has been suffering many problems, be it farmers' well-being, be it agriculture infrastructure, be it agriculture logistic, marketing problem, the producers problem, credit problem. There are many the problems which agriculture sector of this country is facing. To give a big boost to the agriculture sector, to remove the rigidity in the agriculture sector, to bring the agriculture sector on par with other sectors of the economy, to bring the agriculture sector on the mainstream of the economy, under Atmanirbhar Bharat, many schemes have been announced. So let me say few of these schemes here. Concessional credit to boost the farmers. Farmers will be provided institutional credit facilities at concessional rate through Kisan credit cards. So this scheme will cover 2.5 crores farmers with concessional credit worth 2 lakh crore rupees. Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. So agriculture infrastructure is very bad shape. Still farmers are facing a lot of problem to transport, particularly their perishable good to the urban market. They don't have the storage facilities to store at their village. Because of lack of infrastructure, they are not able to bring their agriculture goods, particularly the perishable goods, to the urban market. To improve the agriculture infrastructure, Agri-Infrastructure Fund has been brought in. The amount which is earmarked for Agri-Infrastructure Fund is rupees 1 lakh crore. It's quite good amount. So this is distributed to the farmers through such as cooperative societies and farmers producers organization. Then emergency working capital for farmers. An additional fund of rupees 30,000 crores will be released as emergency working capital for farmers. The fund will be distributed through NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. So this fund will be distributed through NABARD to rural cooperative banks and regional rural banks for meeting their farmers' crop loan requirement. So this emergency working capital fund is expected to benefit 3 crore small and marginal farmers in the country. This is In addition to the financial support of rupees 90,000 crores, which is announced in the budget, which is earmarked will be spent through NABARD and further to regional cooperative banks and RRBs to meet crop loan demand this year. The other support are as follows in the agricultural sector, particularly the fishermen. India has a huge coastal line. It has a potential to produce huge marine products, but due to certain problems, the Indian fishermen were not able to cater global market. The developed countries where demand for marine product is very high, that is demand for fisheries product is very high, but Indian fisheries sector, marine sector is not able to meet the demand of fisheries by these developed countries, particularly European Union countries, Japan and America. The reasons are as following. The first one is maintenance of hygienic by these the producer of the fishery product in this country. Their hygiene level is very high. That is the expected hygiene to produce these fishery product by these nations, European Union, Japan and US is very high. Due to ignorance, due to following old method of catching the fishes, the fishermen here are not in a position to maintain the expected hygienic level by these nations. So in this regard, the big support is announced by the central government as a Economy-AtmaNirbhar Bharath initiative. So this is called as Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, that is PMMS1. So this will be launched for integrated, sustainable and inclusive development of marine and inland fisheries. Under this scheme, rupees 11,000 crores will be spent on activities in marine, inland fisheries and aquaculture. And this will be spent for developing infrastructure such as fishing harbours, cold chain market and maintaining good hygienic for producing marine products. With regard to animal husbandry infrastructure development, India is known for animal husbandry. India is number one in having livestock in the world. However, we are not able to meet the requirement of the what I can say. We are not in a position to further produce more or improve our quality aspect with regard to animal husbandry, particularly to improving the value-added products to be part in the global supply chain. So, in this regard, in an animal husbandry infrastructure development fund of rupees 15,000 crores is being earmarked with aim of supporting private investment in dairy processing. India has a huge potential in dairy processing. There is huge domestic demand, not only domestic demand, even in the international market there is huge demand for dairy products. But we are not able to cater the international market for our dairy products. So dairy products has a huge potential to produce the value-added consumer goods. For example, in European market and USA market, you find a lot of dairy products. The price is very high. Be it bread, chocolates, many dairy product related beverages. But Indian dairy products were not in a position to meet their hygienic standard, meet their quality standard. In this regard, government support is very much required for the dairy sector in this country, particularly improving the infrastructure, like creating awareness of the producers, how the international market exists, and what are the byproducts these dairy sector can produce, particularly the high value products. In this regard, certain amount is earmarked for animal husbandry infrastructure. As I said, rupees 15,000 crores has been earmarked for this sector. Uh, Certain legislative reforms have been brought in with regard to agriculture sector. So these legislative acts were quite old and done long back. In this regard, the Essential Community Act of 1955 has been amended. By amending this, the amended act empowers the central and state government to control sorry, the production, supply and distribution of certain commodities to avoid scarcity in the country. Communities covered under Act include edible oil and seeds, pulses, sugarcane and its product, and rice paddy. Most importantly, the Act will be amended. The particular Act, amended Act, aims to regulate food items including cereals, edible oil seeds, pulses, onions and potatoes. Under the previous Act of 1955, that is Essential Community Act, these products were restricted to export in the international market. So this has created problem for the producers of these commodities to get the benefit of higher international prices. Due to fear of domestic inflation, due to fear of higher the prices of these countries, if you don't put restriction, the government used to anticipate that if you allow these goods to export in the international market, there may be increase in the prices of these commodities and create a deficit in supply and may lead to increase in the prices. So there were restrictions on export of these commodities in the international market. So these commodities, as I said, cereals, edible oil seed, pulses, onions and tomato and potato as well. Under the amendment of Essential Community Act 1955, these commodities have been deregulated now. They are no more regulated. These commodities are also allowed to export in the international market unless if there is a severe problem arises, if there is severe deficit in the supply of these goods, government can intervene. Otherwise, the producers of these commodities can export their good in the international market and get a benefit of the higher international prices. And there was a lot of problem with regard to agriculture marketing. So they amended the present agriculture marketing as well. So agriculture marketing, a lot of agriculture marketing reforms have brought in under this Abhiyan. To mention a few, the adequate choices to farmers to sell their produce at remunerative prices. And second one is barrier-free interstate trade. Earlier, there used to be a lot of restriction on movement of certain agricultural goods from one state to another states. Now, under the agriculture marketing reforms, the goods can move from one state to another state. There are no barriers of interstate trade. And third one is a framework has been created for e-trading for the agriculture produce. Currently, the farmers are bound to sell their produce only to the licenses in agriculture product market committees. The proposed amendment seeks to enable free and flow agriculture produce and establish smooth supply chain, providing options for better price realization to the farmers. The other measures under agriculture sector are agriculture produce pricing and quality assurance. So this is how we notice a lot of measures have been undertaken with regard to boost the agriculture sector. So other sectors which come under this Abhiyan are as follows. Particularly to the migrant workers. The migrant workers suffered a lot during this pandemic. There was a huge movement of migrant laborers from the workplace to their home place. provide certain support to the migrant workers. Under this Abhiyan, a lot of measures have been undertaken. So I would like to share certain policy announced by the central under Atmanirbhar Abhiyan are as follows. One nation, one card. Earlier, the migrant laborers were facing huge problems to get the benefit of certain things in their workplace. For example, a laborer from a particular village, he possesses his ration card of his village. So this ration card of his village is not acceptable in urban where he is working, where he is being migrated. So he was deprived of the government benefits, be it ration card or other benefits. Under amended scheme, what they call one nation, one card. Now the migrant workers will be able to access the public distribution system, that is ration, from any fair price shop in India. So this will be operational by March 2021. So the scheme will introduce the interstate portability of access to ration for migrant laborers. By August 2020, the scheme is estimated to cover 67 crore beneficiaries in the 23 states. This covers 83% of PT's population. All state and union territories are required to complete full automation of fair price shops by March 2021 for achieving 100% national portability. Then other highlights of the policy relating to migrants are free food grain supply to migrants. So due to COVID-19, migrants workers were suffering a lot. They were deprived of their basic needs, basic necessity of life under Bharath Abhiyan. So free food grain to all migrants workers have been announced. So migrant workers who are not beneficiaries, particularly under National Food Security Act, ration card or state card, will be provided 5 kg of grains per person and 1 kg of chana. No ration card is required. So anyone can go to this PDF shop, so fair price shop, are eligible to get 5 kg of grains and 1 kg of chana per person. Then the other schemes relating to migrant workers are affordable rental houses. Then other important schemes under Atmanirbhar Bharat are as following. With regard to civil aviation, they are aiming to infuse private sector in Indian civil aviation to bring our civil aviation sector on par with the best international air aviation industry. So they are allowing the private sector to come and invest in our civil aviation sector. So they are aiming for public-private partnership model for Indian airports. As I say, world-class airports will be built through PPP model, that is public-private partnership. In the first round, the Airport Authority of India has awarded 3 airports, Ahmedabad, Lucknow and Mangalore, out of 6 bid for operation and maintenance on public-private partnership basis. 6 more airports have been identified for second and third round of bidding process each. Another important highlight of Atmanirbhar Bharat is defense. As you know all, every year Government of India spends around 2,50,000 crores on purchase of defense equipment. Most of these defense equipments are imported from other countries of the world. Instead of importing from other countries of the world, the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is, let us domestically produce these defense equipments instead of importing from outside. let us produce domestically. Production of defense equipment domestically does not mean that only the local producer can produce. Even it aims for inviting the foreign companies who is involved in defense production to come and establish their units in India, and let us have a joint collaboration with Indian defense equipment companies, and let us have a collaboration, technological transfer. The whole idea is the concept of made in India, make in India. That is, whoever may be, whether Indian company, foreign company, let us produce in India. Whether it may be foreign company or joint company. So this is whole set of idea of made in India. So made in India make in India has got a lot of boost under AtmaNirbhar Bharat. A lot of policy initiatives have been taken to further boost Make in India Abhiyan. So this is one of the major reforms has been undertaken by the present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That is, producing the defense goods domestically in the sense either by the Indian companies or even the foreign companies can come and invest and produce domestic equipments. The other initiatives with regard to MSMEs, medium small enterprises, they were under severe problems, be it credit, be it the production. A lot of policy support have been taken to lift these MSMEs. And most important policy initiative under AtmaNirbhar Bharat is ease of doing business. To attract foreign investment in this country, to attract foreign companies to come and invest in this country, a lot of amendments have been made with regard to Indian Companies Act. The whole idea is to have a smooth and facilitate ease of doing business in this country. To become self-reliant in the energy sector, a lot of initiatives have been taken, particularly the generation of power and all. And most important initiation under Atmanirbhar Bharat is providing housing to all. The aim of the present Prime Minister Narendra Modi is to everyone should lead a dignified life. Everyone's living condition must be improved. The basic necessity of life must be met. Housing, food, what it is called, to provide housing to all, the various schemes have been announced, and it is aims to construct lakhs of houses to the poor, particularly migrated laborers. With regard to education and health, a lot of reforms have been undertaken under Atmanirbhar Bharat. The particularly they have brought in to improve the health infrastructure in this country. So as we are noticing today, in the March there were no much testing lab for COVID patients. Today India has a capacity to test the COVID patient. The lakhs of the people can be tested in a single day. So thousands of labs have been set up across the country, with almost negligible amount were there earlier. So the personal the protection equipment were almost negligible in the March. Today the lakhs of the personal equipment for defense of COVID can be produced in a single day. So under the education, recently, few days ago, the cabinet approved national education policy. It is one of the major reforms in the post-independent India, which aims for making the educated graduate self-employable. So the aim is education is not to produce only graduates and postgraduates. They should be self-reliant. A lot of vocational training has been infused from the very beginning. A lot of reforms have been brought in the education sector. Particularly, education sector aims for the new education policy. The national education policy aims for improving the the skill of the students. So we notice a lot of initiation under Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the Atmanirbhar Bharat aims for healthy India, what we call Sadrad India. Under this, the aim of the Prime Minister is to make India economically strong, globally competitive. Uh, Let us compete in the global market. For that, huge initiative have been taken. As I said in the beginning, two reasons have been the cause for the initiation of this Atmanirbhar Bharat. One is the COVID, the pandemic, and second one is our neighbors' disturbances, particularly the China. So the Prime Minister of India has seriously thought we need to do something great for this country to become self-reliant in all sectors. Self-reliance here means be globally competitive. Self-reliant means give impetus, focus on the domestic producers. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said local and vocal. He said that the local producers have the capacity to be globally competitive. The only problem is we are not encassing the advertisement. We are not able to advertise our product in the global market properly. So there are certain rigidity in the system, the awareness, all these things need to be taken care. So this is how the Prime Minister said Indian producers are globally competitive. The only problem is we are not encassing the benefits which we have in the global market. He said that the government support initiation is very, very important for these small producers or big producers. They have the enough capacity, enough energy, strength to produce the goods which are globally competitive. In conclusion, I would like to say in this regard, the amount 20 lakh crores for Atmanirbhar Bharat is it's very good amount. A lot of initiation have been taken, but it has to be implemented properly. As you know, the India is known for designing the policy. There are certain problems in implementation. So, if it is properly implemented, definitely India will move ahead. With this, I would like to conclude here. So, once again, I thank the president of Guru Basava Educational Institution, Chodihar, for giving an opportunity to say some of my random thought with regard to Atmanirbhar the Bharat. I would also like to thank my friend Pulikesh Biradar for giving me an opportunity to this. So, thank you, one and all.